then she shouldn't have to. Whereas this guy's obviously grown up with the teeth tradition. So in his eyes, he's like, it's fine if we knock a couple canines out. Like, it's not a big deal. Whereas to her, she's 1 or 2 years accustomed to this. So it's a lot harder to swallow.
Yeah. I feel like she's just in a bit of shock right now that she's realizing that she's been married into the Tooth Fairy's family.
Yeah,
that's true.
She's a little bit like, I don't know, I'm now a part of the fairy tale lore. Shit, does that mean Rumpelstiltskin is still like alive and shit? Like, what the hell else is still out there?
What else is out there? Maybe now she's starting to play things over in her head. It's like when I met everyone, they're like, oh, they were looking at my smile and they kept saying, oh, nice smile, honey, nice smile. Like now it's starting to playing it back. It makes sense in my head.
Yeah.
I guess if you wanted to shortchange them near the end of your life, you would just like start just chugging sugar and stuff. Just really, wilt those bad boys down to just a nub basically, so they don't get much teeth to work with when you pass away.
My teeth.
Can you imagine like they're just like watching you every time you drink like a can of Coke or something like that? They're like. It's like a dagger to their heart. Like, ooh, you're hurting our prized possessions at the end of life. Maybe.
I think it's more of a sentimental value. It's not like this is a good tooth, it's worth a lot. It's like the value is based on where the tooth was in their head. It is very strange though. Look, I would prefer to do something like maybe take if you've got someone that passes away, if there's an ornament or something like that from their house or something. Not saying like to take something from them, but you can have a symbol of someone without it being particularly from that person's body. You know what I mean? It could be something. This is a clock that was in their house that I always see that clock. I think of, when I would go over to their place. I don't know. I think that's kind of a nicer gesture to sort of divvy up items, perhaps.
Grandpa always loved his wallet, so I'll be taking that. It reminds me of him. Yoink.
With the cash still inside.
with cash inside. His wallet was never empty, all right? So it'll be bad tradition if you give me an empty wallet of his.
That's true. It's true. So what do we think for Glue Factory? Should Glue Factory be backing away from this particular family, or is it some of those things you just got to accept?
Well, it seems pretty serious because she said that her husband was essentially threatening divorce if she was not down with the Tooth Fairy, which seems really extreme, right? Obviously that tradition means quite a lot to him, but at the same time, like if he's willing to end his marriage over it, it's like maybe the teeth mean that's too much. They hold too much significance.
I feel like it wasn't that he was threatening divorce. I think she said in the question, it sounded like he was going to go down divorce. Like it sounded like it got that serious.
Yeah, but I still think that implies a pretty serious threat enough. In a way.
I think she should consider it. Like, let it sit for a bit. Like, if this relationship, the only bad thing about this guy is the tooth fairiness, then maybe just let it slide for a bit. Say, look, maybe I will. Give me time, okay? I've only been married to you for 1 or 2 years. Maybe after 5 years, my mind will change. Like, does it need to be? I don't plan on dying anytime soon. Like, I'm sure if you just got married, like, it's like. Give me time to think about this. Like it's a lot to say.
I agree with that. I still think, I don't know, it would make me uncomfortable. Like I would gladly like convert to Judaism if my partner wanted me to so we could get married. The whole teeth thing seems a bit like unnecessary. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it, but that's me.
Not a fan. I don't know. I'm sort of just saying like, hey, it's future Glue Factory's problem. You worry about that later in life. Maybe then you can sort of live your life with blissful ignorance to not think about the fact that your teeth are going to be taken from you. And then if it becomes a really real issue and you become, maybe if it's a sign that this family is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre family, you can leave the family. You know what I mean? You don't need to. They're not going to take your teeth until you're dead. So maybe get out of there before you die, if anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you don't wake up strapped to a dentist chair one day when you sleep over at the in-laws, I think you're okay.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
All right, let's leave it there for Glue Factory then. Now, Marcus, what is your horse's name?
I was actually thinking of something similar to you, Tom, but I'm not going to go down that pathway. I'll tell you what the name was. She's coming from behind.
She's coming from behind. All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, she's coming from behind is coming from behind.
Yeah.
It's just,
right. It'll just throw the commentators. But
but instead, I'm going to go with something a little bit different. I want to call my horse Clip Clop Clip Clop.
I like it. A bit of onomatopoeia.
Yeah, exactly. You just can say Clip Clop Clip Clop Clip Clop Clip Clop. I know. So
I want to hear I want to hear what Bruce McAvaney, how he says that in the tense moments when he's calling the horse race. When Clip Clop is coming up close. Just want to hear how he goes.
Yeah, exactly. You want to hear that because it's a tongue twister too, you know? It's like
oh, no. Clip Clop has had to be put down.
Oh, no.
He has clipped his last clop, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, no. Off to the glue factory. Oh, by the way, glue factory did win the race.
All right, so Clip Clop writes in, is it unreasonable to ask my roommate to burp more quietly?
Oh.
I don't want to be a pain, but I'm wondering if I'm siding with my other roommate on this issue. He has a bit of a digestive issue, but he burps extremely loudly, almost like he's trying to do it as loud as possible. This is the 5th time he's woken me up early in the morning from burping. He always takes care to be quiet in the mornings, but he doesn't ever try to suppress these belches. Clip Clop.
Burps so loud in the morning that he wakes people up.
Barney Rubble over here, yeah.
That's some insane indigestion issues that you wake up and feel like burping. I feel like my body is sort of not, it's, you know, like I don't think it'd be ready to produce a burp first thing in the morning. A yawn, yes, but a burp is just sort of like, how is there gases and bubbles and stuff like that ready to go?
I was always of the belief that you don't fart in your sleep. I was like, nah, you have to be awake to do it. It's like it's a thing that happens body shuts off. Turns out, no, that's a lie. My partner has told me many times, no, you farted in your sleep. It was very loud. And I was like, oh. I didn't hear it. I was fine. But no, it happens. So I'm assuming burping does too.
I agree with you, Tom, in that like I'm someone who has tummy troubles, but I don't have a like an earth-shattering burp ready to go in the morning. I feel like I have to be putting something in the tank in order for that to come out. So maybe this guy just needs a diet change. If he's just dropping like massive burps day in, day out, there's probably, maybe he's putting in unleaded petrol when he should be putting premium in his body.
Yeah, she takes premium, bro. The burping, silencing the burp, I feel like when you want to make a burp loud, you need to go to effort to make it loud. It's almost like you don't need to go to effort to soften the burp. You need to almost need to sort of channel Odin within you in order to send it out into the universe to be like, I am the god of thunder is letting this out. Like, I don't feel like you don't force yourself to quieten a burp. You have to force yourself to make it loud, at least for me.
Yeah.
This is really funny because this is something me and my girlfriend go back and forth on, because if I do a burp or a fart that's, you know, louder than usual, she'd be like, you don't have to do it that way, you know. I'm like,
who are you trying to impress? What are you trying to prove?
And I always say to her, I swear, I'm not like forcing it out or anything. It's just, this is how I do it. It's just happening naturally. I'm not thinking about it. But then I do feel bad because I when she reacts that way, in my eyes, I'm assuming she must just see me like the equivalent of like picking up a megaphone and just letting it rip type of thing, which is not pleasant to be around.
Yeah.
I feel I like that your relationship's like that, Damon, because mine's a little different. Mine is not that we aim to go as loud as possible, but when my partner, you know, farts, burps, whatever, and it's loud, I'm like, good job. I'm like, I like commend it, like it's a really good thing. I'm like, you keep doing that. You go as loud as possible. But when I do it, it's the complete opposite. She's like, please don't. That's disgusting.
This is a roommate, right? It's a roommate of
Yeah.
Yes.
I've forgotten your horse's name. Sorry, Marcus. Of the horse. Clip Clop. So it's different, I guess, in a sense of like you don't have that intimate sort of, or like those boundaries that you can sort of forgive. You can forgive certain things because you're like, it's okay. You could look at this person as a complete stranger, or you could look at them as more disgusting, and something like that would almost gross you out even further, I guess.
It's also a very different conversation than telling them, hey, can you turn your music down? Like, that's an easier conversation than walking into their bedroom and be like, you know that thing you do with your mouth? I need you to just like turn that down to 4 if you can.
I will say a good burp could almost sound like that noise in Genuine's Pony. You know, that Maybe he's singing Genuine. He's the Genuine cover band and he only sings Pony.
I was going to ask you guys, is there anything that, now you guys haven't lived with other roommates, yeah? But you've lived with other people, you're living with your partners, your family, whatever it is. Is there anything else that someone you've lived with does that you're like, man, I don't know how to tell them to just shut it up a little bit, a burp, a fart or something like that? or other sounds?
I would say the one thing that bothers me the most is loud eating. Like smacking lips is one of the things that sort of you don't need to your food. You don't need to kiss your food like that.
I tend to agree, Tom. I don't like it when people are like. However, I've been told that I do that from time to time. So
look, I'm trying to think if I've ever been bothered by your eating, but I guess we haven't lived together, so maybe it hasn't gotten to my nerves. We've eaten a lot of meals together, but maybe it's never been like. I'm sure you are a loud eater. I can sort of it makes sense, Marcus. It makes sense, but it's not something that would be like Marcus
tracks.
and he's the figures that line up, I guess. But it's not something that I'd ever think of like, oh, Marcus and his loud eating is annoying. But I think when you're at the dinner table with your family all the time, or if you're at the dinner table with the same people and you tune it in maybe in those situations, that's just something to me I'm like, it can be avoided. You don't need to like even things like licking your fingertip like
Lips.
to get like
Yeah.
I don't know mango juice off it. You don't need to do that. You could always just like you can do it silently. It's minimal.
I was going to say, in a similar vein to you, Tom, I get annoyed when people go when they're eating, like this is
Yum yum.
So what I'm getting right now is you guys don't like people actively enjoying their meals.
Yeah, let me eat in silence, please.
You just
let
want
me eat
them.
on my own.
You want them to sit there like a robot, just spooning the food in their mouth. No emotion, no noises. That's it.
I like the when I've done the cooking, like this is just like
Oh, okay.
Well,
I
if
would
I've done the cooking, all right.
Yeah, I'd prefer I'm the only one who gets to eat traditionally. Everyone else gets to eat through an IV, and everyone just sits there in silence while the food is just sent into their bloodstream.
That's Tom's perfect world right there.
Yeah.
Of course.
The big one for me, I won't name the person. I had someone I knew that I spent a lot of time with. The way they would sneeze. One, they wouldn't cover their face when they would sneeze. And two, they would sneeze in a way that it looked like, do you know in Hollywood films when a boxer gets punched in slow motion and you see like all the sweat come off their face? Every time they would sneeze, it would be like that. It would just be like a cacophony of spit and mucus, and it was just this horrible stage show that I did not want tickets to. I never purchased them, and yet I got a front row seat.
Exactly.
Did they purposely try to make it as loud as possible?
No, because I spoke to him about this, because I can suppress my sneeze. Like you kind of just do that thing where you do that kind of sneeze, right? And I try to teach them that, and they could never get it going. And so I used to do my head in, because when they would sneeze like that as well, they would usually like stick their hands out and start yelling, "I need a tissue! I need a tissue!"
They went all out because it was like snot on their hands, like, oh, help me.
Damien,
And it always felt
help
like,
me.
yes, as they melt in, like they start to melt away. And it always just felt like, don't drag me into this. This is a one-man show. This is not a two-man show, please.
Yeah, that's quite disgusting. That's like a hygiene thing as well, though. Like a burp is something
Absolutely.
that's just like it serves no sort of like purpose. It's it's disgusting in the moment, but it's gone away very quickly. But something like a sneeze,
Relatively
like
quick.
you could get sick from that.
But you can get corona at this stage. I feel like sneezes, I do big sneezes, maybe because I've got a big nose. I don't know, but I at least try and put my hands in front of it. It's so much more like satisfying doing a huge sneeze than a small sneeze.
You got
Don't
to
you
do
agree?
the elbow. You got to do the elbow,
now,
Marcus. That's how they teach everyone to sneeze.
I'm learning to do the dab, but
What's the old wives' tale about sneezing? Like one sneeze is 1/8 of an orgasm, is what they say, or something like that.
Oh,
That's what I've
really?
heard before.
you have a brain aneurysm from it, yeah.
In this situation, I would say the thing that helps me is my Lanta after I have a meal, which is showing my age. So maybe just buy your roommate some my Lanta and say, "Hey, here you're having some tummy troubles in the morning and at nighttime. My Lanta is here for you."
It's hard to get involved in other people's health issues, especially if you're just like, I think, I'm not a doctor, but I think is one of those things to be like, let me live my life. If someone's trying to give you health advice, this person might not be, Clip Clop's roommate might not be ready to take that advice on. So, I mean, you can try and put it out there, but in the end, they're going to do what they want to do. And unfortunately, if they don't take your advice on, you can only sort of force them or like bring it up to them once, and then otherwise you're being irritating to them. And it could sort of create more conflict that way as well. So I don't know. I think it's all fair enough
That's
to
a good
try
point.
something like passing the Mylanta on or giving them some tips on like maybe not eating the sour worms and the burger rings before going to bed. But in the end, they'll do what they're going to do.
That's it. That's it. I think
Yes,
so.
spot on. Just get some earplugs. Maybe that's the happy medium right there.
Yeah, I think so. Well, look, let's leave it there for Clip Clop, and let's leave it there for the podcast. That is all the time we have for this week. But as always, great questions brought to the table. It's Friday night, boys.